ready?
Yes, I am.
Let's.
Here we go, review the film, review the film, review the film. Here we go, we're gonna review the film on this cold and frosty morning. Whoops! Okay, let's see. Yes, I see you, Molly. I see you. You're not blending into the couch. You go now.
Oh.
All about it. Come on. Up.
Come on, old girl. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
I'll do a Wolfman sketch with you later. Come on.
The Wolfman sketch isn't here yet. You have to leave. You have to go. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, howdy, folks. I'm Thomas McClelland.
I'm Thomas McClelland.
And I am going to take these goggles off because they are really hurting my eyes. Oh. Okay. Right there. Ah, that's better. Alright. And for today's review, we're going to do a little treat with you. A film that we've been wanting to see for quite some time now.
That joke was awful.
Oh, trust me, there are a lot more to come.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so we're finally going to do The Invisible Man. Now, this was a hard one to find, actually, I remember, right? For us?
Yeah, like we had to look for this for like a little bit, but luckily,
Where did we find it?
well, actually, I found it at the store at White Oaks.
Yeah, that seems about right.
I check out that like video store like at White Oaks. Honestly, it is the best place.
Exactly.
I love their stuff.
So, The Invisible Man, which was a novel originally written by H.G. Wells in the year 1897, I believe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, actually there are technically two versions of the book. There's one version by H.G. Wells, and then there's another one written as a kind of like a adaptation by a friend of his kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
It sort of fills in a lot of plot, it fills in a lot of holes that were left in kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yes, and actually both novels were both used when writing the screenplay for this actually.
Oh.
The screenplay for the movie actually.
Oh.
Although strangely enough, it wasn't mostly H.G. Wells' novel was the main source, it was actually his friends that was the source of it pretty much. Especially with a lot of the murderous tendencies of the Invisible Man, pretty much.
Oh, I see.
The interesting fact, though, when they were making the movie, H.G. Wells was still alive when they were making this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because he was friends with the screenwriter, actually, and they both went to see the premiere, actually.
Yeah, that's great.
That was back in 1933.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually a pretty interesting year film. That was the same year that the King Kong movie also came out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And a bunch of other important things, and also when the Nazis came into power, but we'll ignore that.
We'll ignore that part.
So, this is another film directed by our buddy James Whale, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. I think this was like a year after he made Frankenstein.
Wait, when was Frankenstein come out? I think it was 1932.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes.
1932. This came out in 33. So yeah, it was a year after this, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he was on a roll with this one, pretty much.
Oh yeah, he was doing big in Hollywood at this time.
And this film was a huge smash hit, pretty much, for Universal at the time, pretty much.
And the Invisible Man would become one of the kings of the Universal monsters.
Exactly. So, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So, we open up the film on a snowy, desolate plain, pretty much.
Yes.
It's, I think, sometime in winter in the little quaint British town somewhere up north, pretty much.
And we see a man who's trekking through the snow.
Mm-hmm. And where does he end up getting to, pretty much?
He gets to this little village called Iping.
Iping. And that Iping is a little inn right there.
Called the Lion's Head Inn.
And I'm gonna say it, I'm pretty sure John Landis got some inspiration from this movie when making American Werewolf in London.
Totally like the Wolf's Head.
The Wolf's Head, the little inn, the quaint town, the people in there, the dude playing darts on the board.
Fuck, I know, right?
Pretty much. I gotta admit, this is a pretty lively little joint though. Got people having good times, they're drinking, making stupid bar jokes,
Smoking.
smoking, and there's even a dude playing the piano.
I love that sketch, it's so funny.
He's
Like,
playing the piano all nice and friendly like.
and then when he's like, yeah, sing, you think the guy puts the coin in the thing and it starts playing.
Well, to be fair, I mean, it is one of those pianos.
Yeah.
Everybody's having a good time when
Until-
suddenly our mysterious figure busts in pretty much.
And he looks
Kind of terrifying.
creepy.
He's got bandages all over his face. He's got the little hat thingy going on. He's got a very cool-looking trench coat,
Scarf.
dark glasses, and he's even got a fake nose.
Yeah.
What is he, Orson Welles? Pretty much. So, our mysterious stranger is asked to be let in to have lodging at the place, pretty much.
Yes.
And the bar owner is, I think his name is Mr. Hole, I think. Mr. Hole, he says, oh, sure, you can stay here. And he gets his wife. And, oh boy, it's our lovely lady for the film, Una O'Connor, pretty much.
Yay, it's her.
Gotta admit, I love Una in this one.
She's great.
Now, Una O'Connor was a Irish actress who started on stage in the Victorian stage era, pretty much.
And you could tell because of the movement, a lot of like dramatic movements she makes.
I remember when we took drama at high school, we were always told to exaggerate our emotions for the stage, pretty much, and raise our voice up loud so everyone can hear us, kind of thing. So seeing her doing this is like, oh god, it's like someone who couldn't get out of theater come, pretty much.
Pretty much.
But in her case, she does it pretty well, actually.
True.
So I think her name is Minnie in this one?
No, her name's Ginny.
Ginny, right. So Ginny takes up our mysterious stranger's stuff, passing by the women in the back, pretty much.
He's like, ladies?
Yeah, just ignore the creepy dude and bandages and everything.
And then they get his room set up.
Yep. And this is a nice room for an inn back then, pretty much.
They were surprisingly nice.
Got a nice fire going on, all that stuff. And when she's going to be asked, would you like me to take your hat and coat, sir?
He goes, no. And she does a dramatic,
face.
Is she like the original dramatic chipmunk?
Yeah, Una O'Connor was the original dramatic chipmunk for the 30s. Pretty much. So, with that out of the way, Una's character Jenny goes downstairs to bring up some food to the stranger and everything.
Yeah.
And already we see people sort of theorizing who this guy might be.
Like they are thinking that he's like some kind of convicted criminal who escaped prison.
Maybe he got into a fire or something like that and got a serious accident or something. Or run his car on something, maybe.
Yeah.
Because this is 1933. That was a time when cars were widely available, pretty much.
Yes.
Except in the north part of England, because apparently the north part of England is the southern United States, apparently. So, we then get to her bringing food up to the guy, and he's asked to be left alone. Except, someone forgot to give him his mustard.
Fucking Minnie.
God damn it, Minnie, you had one job to give him his mustard, pretty much.
So Jenny goes back with the mustard and
We see that he's kind of missing his lower jaw.
There's literally nothing there.
Yep, this is our Invisible Man for the film, pretty much.
When I first saw this, I was like, whoa!
Yeah, so she's scared off, and I think now is the time to probably talk about our Invisible Man for the film, pretty much.
Who was played by
Claude Rains in this one.
Was the Invisible Man.
Yeah, pretty much, actually.
Well, now you know where that line comes from.
Yeah. Now, Claude Rains actually was also a Shakespearean actor who was known for doing stage work, but then transitioned to movies, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
And he led a very interesting life, but that's not here now. Apparently what they had to do, they wanted an actor for this film that could use his voice well, because you wouldn't be able to see him for most of the film.
Exactly.
So they needed an actor who could have presence and character with his voice, pretty much. And boy, does he deliver in that one, but we'll talk about that later.
Exactly.
So in this one, he plays Jack Griffin, apparently.
Yes.
Which is weird, because in the book, he doesn't have a first name. It's just Griffin, pretty much.
I'm kind of glad that they kind of gave him a first name, but there was an interesting fact with that name.
Oh, yeah?
It was based off of a real life,
Oh, yeah! Originally, in the original transcripts for The Invisible Man, there were plans to give him the name of Harley Griffin, actually.
Yes.
The problem is, though, Harley Griffin was possibly named after a real-life serial killer from Victorian England, pretty much. So they had to scrap that idea, pretty much.
Exactly.
Personally, I'd be thinking it'd be funny if they said, "What's your name, sir?" "My name is, P. Tier Griffin." That's right, Peter Griffin. God damn it. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't made a reference to that, pretty much.
That's so sad.
Oh shit, did we just give Seth some ideas?
Oh crap.
Seth, don't steal our shit, man. So, in this one, Griffin, or Jack Griffin in this case, is, I think he's the student of a particular scientist, pretty much.
He's not a student, he's an
apprentice, or a lab assistant.
He's employed under...
Of the, what's the good doctor's name again? I can't remember his name. It's, something with an S, I think. While you're looking up that, here's something interesting about the guy who plays the doctor. What? You got something?
Sorry, folks. His name's kind of forgettable for us.
But there is something memorable about the actor, though. The actor who played this guy, the guy who employs Griffin, would later get himself in a very good film. He would be Clarence in It's a Wonderful Life, pretty much.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right, honey. Good on you, Clarence. Good on you. Pretty much. Yeah, so Clarence is up late night, and he's going over some files when his daughter comes in, Flora. What's her name again? Flora, yeah. And she's played by old Rose from the Titanic.
Be damned.
Ah, goddamn. Actually, that actress was pretty cool. She was not only just a actress from Hollywood, but she was one of the first people to open up a refuge for Holocaust survivors in Hollywood, actually.
She was also in a party that was against Nazis.
Go girl. She was like Peggy Carter, basically, from Captain America in a way. The real Peggy Carter in a way.
Yeah.
Sort of like Peggy, yeah. So while that's going on, she's asking her dad, "Yo, Dad, what's up? Where's my fiance at?" And
there we go, Cranley.
Yeah, that's his name, Dr. Cramley. It's a weird name, but it's England, I guess, so it's kind of expected. So they're concerned about what's going on. Then suddenly, Kemp breaks in, who's also an assistant to the doctor.
Yeah, he's also an employee with Dr. Cranley.
Pretty much, and and Kemp is like, "Yo, maybe we should think about trying to find Griffin soon or something."
He is such an asshole.
Well, of course he's an asshole. I mean, look at that mustache.
He's the asshole of the movie, people.
And much like the other films that we've seen, it's also a dude with a pencil mustache that's hitting on the fiance of our main character, pretty much.
Well, in this one, he's straight up creeping.
I know. Like, first it was the dude from Frankenstein, now this guy, pretty much.
It's like, even she's like, leave me alone.
God damn, dude, come on.
Like, fuck. I just want to, like...
That's here or now, though. So they're worried what's going on, and they're going to try and find Jack. But Jack's also having troubles of his own in the little town, pretty much.
He's struggling to find the antidote.
To basically to get his skin back. Now, in the movie, they actually go into detail, but in the book, they never actually reveal what the condition is with his skin, pretty much.
Exactly.
Until almost the very end, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, while that's going on, he's also causing a bit of a nuisance with the patrons of the bar, pretty much.
Well, he's scaring off people who, like customers of the bar.
Yeah.
He's spilling everything on the carpets, throwing stuff, swearing, cursing.
Basically being a nuisance.
He's basically doing that.
And while that's going on, everybody is like just walking away, and the people that own the bar are basically not at all happy with this scenario.
And Jenny, she's bringing up his lunch, I believe?
Yeah, because apparently they have lunch at 1 o'clock.
Okay. I usually have mine at noon, but that's just that.
So while that's going on, they're...
But he's like, I don't want my lunch. God.
He pushes it out of the way pretty much, and that makes her...
crashes onto the floor and screams.
She does a lot of that in this movie, the whole screaming thing. It kind of helps that Una O'Connor has got some hell of a pipes when it comes to singing, pretty much. I mean, screaming.
All they're gonna say is...
You my poor tender ears. So...
Well, the volume for her sings is like, up, down, up, down.
And so she's telling her husband, you gotta kick him out or I'm getting out, pretty much.
Pretty much, it's either him or me.
So he's going up like, alright buddy, listen, you've been pissing off everyone, you gotta go. And Griffin
basically, Jack is begging him
to let him stay.
But it's not working, and so he literally bashes him over the head with one of his hardcover books.
Yeah, you better back the fuck up, dude, or I'll smack you with this book, pretty much.
And throws his ass down the stairs.
And once again, we got another Una O'Connor screams, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this time, we get a very stereotypical policeman to help out with the proceedings.
Ew, what's all this then?
surprised he didn't say this. What's all this then, old man?
This isn't Monty Python.
Pretty much. So, he goes in to check out what's going on and everything. And now Jack is really losing it, pretty much.
No, at this point, his like mentality is like, he?
Pretty much. And so, we get the most infamous scene in the movie where he shows them who he is. And can I just say for a minute that I think that, here's an interesting fact. Apparently, the performance of Claude Rains inspired Mark Hamill for when he was doing the Joker, actually.
That's true. If you listen to his laugh in this one, it sounds very
similar. It's very
similar.
verbatim. And even his, you think I'm crazy, don't you? Well, I'll show you crazy.
It's basically
carbon. It's basically the same, but that's not bad because at least it inspired one of the best Joker performances, pretty much.
Also, I will have you that this scene scared the shit out of me.
It's so unsettling the way he just takes off all the bandages and everything.
And then there's literally nothing there.
It's kind of a weird thing with your brain where you know something should be there, but because you're not seeing anything there, your brain is just not dealing with it properly.
Well, like, in the special effects in this were also phenomenal for their time.
I know, this is like 1933, and these effects are really, really good.
Because in most cases, you probably just see like, you know,
like
a line out or fading of the head.
Pretty
but
much.
There's literally nothing.
Actually, here's how they apparently accomplished that goal. They did sort of like a prototype of green screen in a way.
That's true, yeah.
Basically, they would have Claude Rains wearing this skin-tight kind of
Black
vinyl kind of stuff.
Like a black suit.
And this would cover his skin. And then later when they were editing it, they would use a trick where they would basically take out everything that stuff was covering. And that's how we would get the effect. Unfortunately, though, Claude Rains was not a fan of wearing that stuff, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he had a bit of PTSD from his war years.
Yes, Claude Rains was in World War I, and he remembered an experience he had where he was, I think it was the Battle of the Somme or something.
I believe so, yes.
And supposedly, while he was at that battle, there was gas being dropped down, so he had to put this sort of like a mask on his face and everything. And unfortunately, he saw a lot of his buddies die from that also, so it kind of brought back bad memories of being suffocated.
It's terrible.
But that's here nor now. We then get him basically just, I guess, stripping in front of everyone.
All I gotta say is somebody plays me some hot chocolate. I
Believe in miracles. Where you from? You sexy thing, sex a thing, you.
Take it off.
Pretty much.
And then basically he's going down to his birthday suit.
Too sexy for my clothes. Too sexy for my clothes. Pretty much, yeah.
And so basically we kind of have like a Benny Hill chase scene here with a fucking shirt.
I do admit, it's kind of cool seeing how everyone reacts to it. It kind of makes it really believable that he's actually going invisible. Even if some of the effects are not all that great. Like, we can see the shirt is clearly a sort of like a little projection effect thing.
Well, you can clearly see that it's like him running.
It's him running, but it's him running in a different scene, and then they just sort of crop it into that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the scene where he's like, I think the most terrifying scene where he tells what he's able to do with the ingredients, pretty much.
Oh my god, that was so scary.
How does it go? He's like, a little bit of this.
Injected under the skin and beyond, every day for a month. An invisible man can rule the world. He can hear every secret. He can rob, rape, and kill.
And I gotta remind you, this is during the Hays Code of America, pretty much, so it's kind of weird seeing this stuff.
Well, the Universal monster movies were been known to push the envelope.
They were always known for sort of pushing the boundaries of what was quote-unquote acceptable for the time.
But again, this was scary.
And then he also nearly throttles a police officer, pretty much.
He doesn't kill him, though.
Doesn't kill him. Yet.
Yes.
And then he gets outside and everyone's freaking out. He steals some dude's bike, pretty much.
And you can see the strings.
Yeah, unfortunately you can see the strings.
Well, since we have the Blu-ray edition, you can see everything.
It's kind of on there, pretty much. So while that's going on, we then get him basically causing terror for town.
He pushes over a baby carriage.
What the fuck, dude?
Not the baby.
And he also throws a broom at someone. How's this for a hat, Ross George Henry? And he takes some old guy's hat.
It's like, my hat.
He throws a brick at some charity shop or something.
And everybody's panicking, getting into their houses, and we cut to a really weird scene.
Which one was that?
is like some people who had a jewelry store or something.
Now, I always thought, wait, is this the movie's attempt to show in diversity? Because they look like your stereotypical Jewish pawnbrokers.
Yeah, I don't understand what that was about.
I don't know. It's just some weird stuff.
Anyways, the police guy's calling the back of it. Of course, this guy's not believing him.
Well, how would you believe saying, yeah, I know, I couldn't see him, he was invisible?
Get out.
So while that's going on, everyone's panicking, and news spreads quickly, pretty much. But while that's going on, Dr. Kemp and Dr. Cranley go to Jack's laboratory to see what's going on.
But unfortunately, he burnt all his notes.
And all his supplies are gone, pretty much.
Leaving no trace of where he could possibly be.
Except one little piece of paper, pretty much.
It's
with some ingredients on it.
It's a rough note with a list of chemicals, and one of them is called monocaine.
Monocaine! Sorry, we had to. Yeah, monocaine, which wasn't in the book, but I'm kind of glad they sort of put that in because it kind of gives a somewhat smart explanation of what it is.
So Dr. Cranley explains that this drug was made from a flower in India.
And supposedly it was a flower that would extract all the color from around it, pretty much.
But when they tried using it for bleaching cloth, it destroyed it.
Somehow.
It destroyed the material.
Yeah. And then when they tested on a dog, it turned the dog bright white or something like that.
It turned the dog like a marble statue.
Unfortunately, it also drove the dog crazy, pretty much. So that's a little interesting parallel I was wondering. Is it the fact that Jack is invisible that he's going crazy, or is it the effect of the drug that's making him go crazy?
I think it's, at this point, it's left to interpretation.
I like to think that maybe it's the idea that because he's no longer able to see his reflection, he doesn't basically have any, sort of like those, you know that idea about how we wear like social masks and stuff like that?
There's actually an interesting thing about that.
Oh, yeah.
The Japanese believe that we wear 3 masks.
Okay.
One that we wear for our family.
Alright.
Another one we wear for our friends, and one that we wear only to ourselves that we never show the world.
Okay, so now imagine somebody took away all those masks.
We were basically left with
madness and chaos. So basically, without those social restraints now, he can do whatever he pleases, basically.
So basically, it's like...
I like to think that maybe those feelings were always inside him, but now that he can't see his face, and the drug has been screwing with his mind, maybe those effects are now heightening those urges or something like that.
Fortunately, that seems like the case.
Probably.
And Dr. Cranley also explains that he might not know that this drug does it because the information about it was only known to certain areas.
It's been only known to a few people in England and Germany, I think he says, or something like that.
Yeah, in the German experimentation book.
Which makes you wonder, people tried this before?
I think some people did, but they didn't handle it like Jack did.
Clearly. So, while that's going on, Kemp goes back home to basically enjoy himself, right? And of course he's a creep because we see him having a picture of Flora right there.
He has a picture of Jack's fiancée.
What the fuck,
on his
dude?
mantle.
I know.
What the fuck?
It's so creepy.
I know, right? This dude deserves to die.
And speaking of which, our buddy the Invisible Man just comes in pretty much. Because, let's be honest, if you're invisible, you can pretty much sneak in wherever you can, pretty much.
Hell yeah.
And basically, he holds him, Kemp, hostage, basically.
It tells him that you're now under my control and you're going to do everything I tell you to do unless you want to die.
And believe me, he even threatens to almost bash his brains in with a fire poker, pretty much.
Oof.
And then he has a smoke, which is kind of funny because I remember I was reading one of my League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comics.
Yeah.
And there was this one character in the film who, no, not the film, the books, who eventually replaces Griffin actually in a way, and it's not Skinner, before you ask. And basically he was the Invisible Man of the 40s, and he had this bad habit of apparently smoking. And unfortunately that gave him away because two things, his lungs became black, so it was kind of easy to see, and his smoking made him cough an awful lot. So I really don't think you should be smoking there, Jack. Just saying.
People in the 30s.
Pretty much. So, He employs Kemp to help him get his stuff that he left at the Lion's Head Inn and everything, pretty much.
Because they're very important. They contain all his experimentations and all his notes.
And so they go up to the town to collect all that stuff. Kemp waits outside while Griffin goes inside to collect everything. And then inside, the constable of the area, or the head police chief, is basically lecturing everyone in a way.
He's basically claiming that this is just a big hoax and the entire town will be basically a laughingstock.
Okay, but did you make up the hoax when you saw him shredding down his garments and everything? Or him falling down off the stairs, pretty much?
That guy didn't see that.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they saw him taking the bandages off his head and tearing his own nose off.
Yeah, but this is the chief of the area. He wasn't there to see any of this.
And he's basically just there to be the stereotypical authority figure, pretty much.
Pretty much.
So, Jack throws down all the books to Kemp and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Before he goes, he has a little fun with the policeman, pretty much. I love it where he's trying to, like, sign with a pen.
He's like, whoop, whoop.
And Una O'Connor gets I think a vase to the head or something like that.
That's a glass, like vase or something.
Yeah.
The ear.
Yeah, you hit her in the ear. What the hell? So she screams. Everybody runs, and then Jack kills the constable, pretty much.
The constable who wasn't believing in all of this.
And for his effort, he gets smashed in the face. And
with an actual chair.
Yeah, it looks like the actor accidentally got really hit in the face, pretty much.
Oh, that poor guy's gonna get a black eye from that.
Pretty much. I mean, it is kind of what happened in the book, though. Although, apparently in the book, he doesn't use a table. In some versions, he uses a brick to kill him, actually.
Oh, God.
Yeah, in one version of the books, like, he's a downright anarchist, apparently, also. He wants to take down governments and all that, pretty much.
Fuck me.
But in this one, he's a straight-up serial killer.
So, he gets back into Kemp's car and they drive back to his place.
And everyone's now freaking out at the Invisible Man. They're putting bulletins and broadcast everywhere for everyone to hear.
And everybody's locking themselves in, and there are literally 10,000 people who are willing to help for this.
And their ideas are kind of stupid, pretty much.
Very stupid.
One guy thinks it's about maybe you can see his breath, or spraying with paint.
Well, the breath thing, perhaps, because it's cold. But
there goes the championship. I saw the same person do his trick like that. He had made a peanut disappear.
That's a peanut.
How do you make it disappear? He's like, and now I should make this peanut disappear. It's gone. Can't see it.
Anyways, Dr. Cranley, before he was about to report Jack is missing, he sees the newspapers and he's like, ooh.
Yeah, we can't report him now because he's basically wanted for murder.
Yeah, so we're just gonna...
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back home.
Pretty much, yeah. But now Kemp is basically alone because Jack is basically asleep now, right?
Yeah, he had some food and then he takes off his bandages and goes to sleep.
I like the fact that he admits that whenever he eats food, he has to wait at least a day before he can go out again.
No, he has to wait an hour.
An hour because people will be able to see the food in his stomach, pretty much.
Ugh.
Does that mean they can see it like being converted into turds? Just saying. Apparently they can even see the dirt underneath his fingernails.
Oh man.
That's why he wears gloves, I guess.
You can't wear gloves. Then all you see is floating gloves. It's like, dang. Anyways, focus now.
So, Kemp at first, who does he call first?
He calls Dr. Cranley and Flora.
And he
tells them to please come over.
I don't want to die, pretty much, yeah. And then he calls the cops, basically, right?
And this motherfucker...
This guy is all like, yeah, we'll send over somebody, dude, don't worry.
This guy is like, I am stoned.
Took some evidence from the evidence locker, I guess. So, Jack hears the commotion, like, what you doing in there, Kim?
He's like, nothing.
And he thinks the police are here, but no, it's not the police. It's Dr. Cranley and Flora, pretty much.
But then Jack remembers, oh yeah.
I have a fiancée.
Doy.
Pretty much.
I must see her alone.
Hey. We're not going to have that in the 30s. What's wrong with you? This isn't Hollow Man. What's wrong with you? Come on.
What? He already I was like talking about rape earlier in the film.
Okay, but we're not gonna get into that.
Well,
So
it's not like that apparently.
So Dr. Cramley and Flora get in, and Kemp wants Flora to go because if they keep him distracted long enough, they can get the cops over pretty much.
Well, they were gonna try and wait till he falls asleep, chloroform him, and then tie him up, and then get the cops.
Yeah. So he talks with Flora and everything. And
I'm not gonna lie.
he's charming enough, pretty much.
It's his voice. I'm sorry.
Claude Rains has an air of kind of respectability to his character, pretty much.
When he's like, Flora, my darling. I'm like, oh my god.
And he talks to her, and he's talking about how he was, mad at the fact that he was basically poor all the time and all that, pretty much.
He was basically doing this for her.
Oh boy.
But then she realized, my fiance be a cuckoo.
Pretty much, he's like talking about how he can do anything, see anything, enter the Holy of Holies, learn the secrets of kings and all that.
Pretty much.
Even the moon is frightened of me.
And it looks like, hey, I'm just here, okay?
You're just one little thing with my invisible finger. Stick up your butt, pretty much. Besides, we all know why the moon's actually scared of you, dude. Your son is literally the Wolfman. Get it? Because Claude Rains plays the dad from the Wolfman and everything.
We'll get to that another time.
Yeah, Larry's his son. Okay, so while that's going on, the cops show up and he's like, "Oh, Kemp, you little rat."
He's like, Kemp, you son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill you.
And he sent Flora off on her way, thankfully not touching her in any way, pretty much.
He does give her a kiss when they hang goodbye. Oh my god, I'm
With
sorry.
his invisible lipsticks?
You know what? Shush. Just let me have this.
Alright. And he's basically like, Kemp, I swear, before the day is out, I will kill you. At 10 o'clock precisely for some reason.
No, 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Pretty much. So, he gets out, and he pinches the dude's nose.
He's like, and he smacks some guy in the face.
Oh!
And he takes some guy's
I mean, trousers! See, wait, my wallet was in there.
Not anymore.
Yeah. And then we get, honestly, a pretty funny scene where he scares
this poor woman.
Yeah, and you get the song. Let's sing. 1, 2, 3. Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May. Here we go gathering nuts in May on the cold and frosty morning. Whoops! Yeah, I can see why Mark Hamill may have taken some inspiration from this guy.
This guy is fucking great. Okay. So then we get to him.
Basically, killing fools, as I call it.
Yes.
So how many people does he kill exactly that are looking for him?
Well, actually, if you watch Stepne's review on the thing, according to him, it was 104 people.
That's okay and everything, but apparently it said that he killed people that were looking for him also.
According to the search party, 20 people died.
20 people died, so that'd be like technically 124 people that got killed. No offense, James, just the way we look at it, man.
Look, we're just doing this for our thing. You do you. We love you.
You go, James. So, while that's going on, he's killed a couple people that are looking for him, but then he does something that really freaks me out, actually.
He literally derails an entire train.
Killing 100 people in the process, pretty much.
Yeah.
God damn, that's like down like mass murder levels of bad, pretty much.
Yeah, that scene is...
Yeah, most of the Universal monster films, the monsters kill like just a handful of people, but this dude goes up to the gold standards, pretty much.
Yeah, if you were to do like a comparison of how many kills are like each of his films, he wins like
the grand
prize.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's not all murder because he also breaks into a bank, pretty much.
Oh yeah, and he steals money, which people don't see that.
Nobody notices the floating cashiers thing going by.
Really not. Then he does like another like child's kind of run.
I think it's Pop Goes the Weasel or something like that.
Yeah, like down up and down the city road, in and out of the Eagle. That's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel.
And then he sings his favorite song by the Beatles. Money, 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 money.
He make it rain. Claude makes it rain.
Yeah, Claude Rains makes it rain. Yeah. He's got the same ability as Claude from the Black Panther.
It's like money, money, money.
He's like, money de rain.
Okay, we're getting off track here. Sorry.
So after that happens, the police are doubling their efforts to basically make sure that Kemp doesn't get killed pretty much and everything.
And a bunch of reporters are talking about, hey Fritz!
Yeah, one of the reporters is Fritz pretty much.
Oh, it's so good to see you again.
Makes sense, he wasn't Frankenstein. So, while that's going on, they're doing everything they can to make sure that Kemp doesn't get killed. And they do stuff like, they put a giant net over the area to make sure that he isn't there. They go into a giant sock thing and walk around the thing, pretty much.
They look like they're in a gigantic sack of potatoes.
I bet one of the others like, sir, we all look kind of stupid doing this.
He's like, shut up, keep moving.
This is the reason my kids have no faith in me. So, they take Kemp to the police office and all that, pretty much.
Well, their plan was to take him. Was to take him to the police station. Disguise him in a police officer's uniform. Put him back in a car. Drive him back to his place. Then take his car and drive up to the mountains to wait until they hear that they caught him.
Pretty much, yeah.
It doesn't work.
No, because
he followed them the entire
time, and he snuck into Kemp's car, pretty much.
Yep.
And
so by the time it's 10 o'clock, he's like, time to die, bitch.
He strangles him with his scarf and stuff.
He ties him up.
And
surprisingly, lifts him up.
How strong are you, dude? Like, seriously.
Look, I know you're an invisible man, but damn.
You're an invisible man, not Superman. Come on.
So he ties him up, puts him in his car, and basically makes the car drive off the mountain.
What kind of stuff was in that car to make it blow up? Kerosene?
Gas.
Yeah, gas doesn't do that. That's not how gas works.
I don't know how those cars worked back then.
And one interesting note with the cops, though, they did manage to spray something at least with that paint stuff.
A white kitty cat. Oh no, kitty!
Yeah, it was a white kitty cat, but then after the paint job, it was a black cat, pretty much.
You bastards.
You did a reverse Michael Jackson on the cat.
Hey.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry. Okay, so, after all the murdering, he's getting pretty tired now, so he lays down in a barn to sleep, pretty much.
I wouldn't do that.
I hope you like getting hay up your ass, pretty much.
It's since he's invisible too. It's like
shot right at the crack of his ass. Pretty much.
So then everybody is still searching for him.
But this old farmer guy who owns the place, he's noticing, yeah, my hay is snoring.
Also, he's got a disgusting neck beard.
Ugh, oh no, it's a neck beard. Run for your lives, folks.
Give me my goddamn shaver. I'm shaving that thing off.
So, while that's going on, Mr. Farmer Neckbeard goes to the cops and says, yeah, I know where he is, pretty much.
Basically, everybody gets their shit ready because they also have another advantage.
It's snowing, which means they'll be able to see his footprints. Yes. Or even if he breathes, you can see his breath, pretty much.
Yes.
We never do, but you know.
Anyways, so they surround the barn.
And they're all ready to basically catch him. They burn the barn.
They set the barn on fire.
Oh,
luckily, this guy's getting 1,000 pounds for his reward.
Yeah, at least he's doing that. The white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland got nothing from the dodo, pretty much. So, they're doing that. They see his footprints going for the thing.
And bam!
I kind of like the effect they did for the footprints, though, actually.
How did they do it again?
Basically, they had a stage floor on the thing, and they would pull out these carvings of footprints that would make it look like footprints were in the way, pretty much.
Oh.
There's the one problem, though. It looks like shoe prints, though. It doesn't look like someone's bare feet, pretty much.
Like, you know how, like, in this, like, you're walking through, like, a sandy beach, and you see your, like, footprints?
You'd have toes, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
This doesn't, apparently. But yeah, he was shot in both lungs, I think?
Both lungs.
Ah, that's rough.
And unfortunately, he's now on his deathbed in the hospital, and he doesn't have much time left.
Yeah, so he asked for Flora to come near him. He says, I learned stuff that men were not supposed to learn.
He basically said, I meddled in things that man must leave alone. And he dies.
Yeah, he dies, and we see a really cool
effect.
Yeah, the cool effect where he turns from a skeleton to muscle kind of thing.
Flesh, and then finally, holy fuck!
Yeah, Club Grange is a handsome man, what can I say?
No! He was too handsome to die!
Yeah, well, what can you do? So, that's the Invisible Man. And here's something I thought we could do. Let's briefly talk about what inspired after this movie, pretty much. And that means
sequels.
Now we're not going to get into great detail with this film, but we're going to briefly talk about them, pretty much.
So
let's get into it. What's the first one?
So the one after The Invisible Man is called The Invisible Returns. Now, this was actually a pretty decent sequel.
Yeah, The Invisible Man Returns wasn't that bad because it had a lot of the same talent going towards it for that.
And it had Vincent Price!
Yeah, it had Vincent Price as The Invisible Man in this one. Sadly, without his mustache, though.
So The Invisible Man Returns came out in, hold on a second, 1940.
Which is weird. That's like almost an entire decade after the first one, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And this one follows this sort of rich guy. What's his name again?
Jeffrey Radcliffe.
Jeffrey Radcliffe. The great-grandfather of Daniel Radcliffe. I assume, I'm not sure.
I don't know, I don't think so.
So Daniel is... Jeffrey
He's basically framed for murdering his brother.
And his fiancée, and this time, Frank Griffin helps him out. Because apparently Jack had a brother that we never knew about.
What?
Yeah, it's the, I'm actually the brother of the main character you never knew about thing.
And apparently I'm still continuing my brother's work.
Yeah, even if it results in hamster death.
No, it's guinea pig.
Those guinea pigs.
No, guinea pig.
This is what you get for G-Force.
Okay, to any of my friends who love guinea pigs, avert your eyes. This is really sad.
So, yeah, basically the story is about Jeffrey basically trying to find out who killed his brother and everything.
Which we find out, it's his cousin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because he wants the fortune to himself and his fiancée. What is with guys in these mustaches? They are all creeps.
I never knew that. What are you looking at? Yeah, I mean, so to basically summarize the sequel, it's okay and everything.
The sequel gets a happier ending though.
It's basically The Invisible Man, with a happy ending, where apparently all he needed was a blood transfusion. Yeah, that's all it takes apparently. Don't ask. But honestly,
it's okay. I like it, and
Vincent Price does a pretty good job as the Invisible Man in this one, pretty much.
I love Vincent Price in this one.
He's really tall, so I realized pretty much. Tall, dark, and handsome, alright?
Sorry, okay.
But still, no Vincent Price mustache, so yeah. Jay, don't worry, the mustache will return. So, while that's going on, then we get the Invisible Woman.
Fuck this one as a woman. I hate this one.
Yeah.
I barely want to talk about this, so I'm handing it to you.
Okay. So the Invisible Woman came out in 1940, actually, which was actually, strangely enough, the same year as The Invisible Man Returns. And I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to do a female retelling of the story, but the thing is, they wanted to go for a more comedic route with this. It doesn't work. It's a comedy that's not funny, pretty much. And like I say, it's really, really a product of its time, so it's not a film you want to watch if you're a pseudo-feminist or anything like that, pretty much.
No, fuck the shit. I hate this goddamn movie.
And the logic in it is pretty, it has nothing to do with the first two movies. It almost has nothing to do with the formula. In fact, she turns into the Invisible Woman due to some machine thingy. The only thing of worth I can mention about this film is that the woman who played the Wicked Witch of the West makes an appearance in it, pretty much, Margaret Hamilton. And it's got Shemp from the Three Stooges in it, who's actually kind of funny, pretty much. So
if you love those actors, that you can watch this film, but don't watch it for anything else. In this film, it is awful.
And don't even get me started on that Invisible Baby, pretty much. I think we found a contender for the worst baby effect out of the Twilight movies, pretty much. So, after that one, we then get The Invisible Agent.
Oh yeah, this was a war movie.
Technically a very war movie, because it came out in 1942.
Oh no.
And that was a very important year for America, because that's when America was entering the war, pretty much. And yeah, it's okay, but it has some stuff that I'm not comfortable with.
Like guy pretending to be Japanese.
Oh yeah, we get Peter Lorre in yellowface pretty much. Oh man, they did a Sean Connery from You Only Live Twice pretty much.
Let's just keep going.
I mean, I get it what they're going for. It's basically a propaganda film, and it's kind of interesting seeing basically a dude using this Invisible Man thing to basically become a
invisible spy.
Pretty much. That's kind of cool, but oh boy is it a product of its time. Which then brings us to
The Invisible Man's Revenge. This one was
weird. It's technically connected in a way, but not at the same time. It's its own story, yet for some reason our main dude is also called Griffin in this one.
This guy was originally portrayed by these two people.
Yeah.
And he went to, I think, a psychiatry?
In America or something?
In America, but he broke out by literally killing people and goes back to England.
And apparently he meets a scientist who comes up with the formula, and it's not himself.
But at least he gets an invisible doggy.
I guess, but again, I'm wondering, what connection does this have?
Nothing. Absolutely fuck all.
Pretty much, so yeah, it's okay. I kind of wish it was connected to the story, though.
It's fine. I'll just say that, but it's not perfect.
But unfortunately, with all the Universal Monster movies, there was one thing they all had to face off against, like Abbott and Costello.
This one is called Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. And this one came out in 1951.
Wow. Now, Abbott and Costello were big in the 30s, pretty much, with their stuff like Who's on First and everything.
Yeah.
But they were also kind of big in the 40s, but by the 50s, it was kind of getting old, pretty much.
This one is...
It's weird. I love the bits with Abbott and Costello because they're funny as usual, pretty much. Even though by that point, they kind of hated each other, pretty much.
This one is weird. It's like they took like an Abbott and Costello like mystery thriller, but just added the Invisible Man.
Kind of, yeah. Or it's like they took an Invisible Man thriller and just added in Abbott and Costello, pretty much.
Pretty much. It's kind of like the second one, the sequel.
Yeah, it's sort of in a weird way. It's got almost the same plot, almost in a way. But except this time, instead of Vincent Price, we get this generic as hell boxer kind of guy, pretty much.
So it's like, Adrian!
As far as they have to make that, pretty much.
Don't give them ideas.
Stallone, don't even think
Don't do it.
Yeah. So, it's okay. It's kind of funny in parts, but a lot of the time I'm just sitting there wondering, what's the point?
And I'm actually kind of going like this. Okay, when does something interesting happen?
So, it was okay, just makes me scratch my head. By that point...
By this point, I'm like, I'm done. I'm just done.
Yeah, you and Universal, because by that point, the Invisible Man and a lot of their monsters were seen as unprofitable at the time, so that's why they teamed them up with Abbott and Costello a lot of the time to give them some life. It didn't work because they were kind of seen as basically just jokes, pretty much.
So by this point, the Invisible Man was done for now.
He was done for now. There were some attempts, though, here and there to kind of bring him back to the mainstream. There was Memoirs of an Invisible Man that was directed by John Carpenter, of all people.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it starred Chevy Chase.
Oh no, we're not gonna get into that.
He was, once again, an asshole on set to everyone. And according to John Carpenter, he was basically just a spoiled brat the entire time.
God, he's such a cunt.
Yeah, so it was a big box office bomb for them, pretty much. And then afterwards, there was actually one that I kind of like, actually, The Hollow Man, starring Kevin Bacon, pretty much.
Is that the one in 2020?
No, that's a different one. No, The Hollow Man was a different film that came out by director Paul Verhoeven.
When did that come out?
I think it was like early 2000s, late 90s kind of era.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
You see, Verhoeven wanted to make another big hit movie like RoboCop or something like that because he had made a little film called Showgirls.
Shut up. We're not talking about that. That is the past. That is the past.
Yeah, see our Showgirls review sketch if you want to know more about that. But the point being, after that movie, it kind of haunted his career and he needed another hit or else he'd become irrelevant pretty much. And he was hoping with this film because he was a big fan of the book pretty much. And he also wanted to make sort of like a more darker retelling of it in a way, pretty much.
Anyways.
Because in this one, he's a straight-up rapist, pretty much.
We're not going to get into that.
I kind of like it, though, because Kevin Bacon's actually pretty good as the character, pretty much. And we get a young Thanos in there, pretty much.
So, that's
that.
That's that.
But then there was that recent one that just came out, actually. I haven't seen it,
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. But I would like to. I've been told it's really good, actually.
That's what I've been hearing, too.
And it plays into the ideas of a controlling man basically trying to control a girl's life kind of thing. Which actually is pretty cool. Although originally, it was going to be a little different because... Do you remember that Dark Universe thing that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently if The Mummy with Tom Cruise was good, they were going to make that Invisible Man film with Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. Unfortunately, though, that never came to pass, unfortunately.
And to the lovely Tom Cruise.
Made your point. That's clear.
Fuck.
So, yeah, that's that.
That's that.
But let's get back to the OG
one, the one that we're talking about today.
Final thoughts?
I love this one. Out of all the Universal Monster movies, this is actually one of my favorite ones.
Really?
Yeah, like, I watched, like, pretty much almost...
We watched pretty much all of them, yeah.
The main ones.
Yeah.
There was, like, a lot of, like...
Side ones also.
Like, side ones, but out of, like, all the main ones, this is one of my favorite ones. Because, in my opinion, this is very scary. And, like, the death toll is, like... in the hundreds. That's like way more than I've ever seen like any out of like any of these like Universal Monster movies.
Alright.
And like Claude Rains, hot and cool and so stylish.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna give this one a 8 out of 10.
Ooh. Okay. I gotta admit, this is also one of my personal favorites because it kind of feels like a film that honestly, it was kind of ahead of its time when portraying, like, horror in a way.
That is so true.
Not only do you get the murders that are going on, and, you know, the Man's pretty scary on his own, but it's also kind of a psychological thriller in a way. Mm-hmm. Because what's more terrifying? Anywhere. Yeah, what's more terrifying than a man who's literally invisible, pretty much? He could even be here from, you know. But that's here now. The point being, I think this film is honestly one of Universal's best films, in my opinion. Fight me on that, pretty much. So I have to say, for my personal thing, I'm going to go with you and also give it an 8 out of 10, pretty much.
Nice.
So, that's all for now, folks. And thank you for watching our review of The Invisible Man, pretty much.
Don't forget to like it and subscribe, and also leave a comment down below. And
if you want, you can also comment if you want us to look at any of the other Invisible Man films, but please be careful. I beg of you, is all I'm going to ask. And if you also want, you can hit the bell for notification. You can see any of our other videos on our channel here on World Builder Studios or Silversmith Production.
And also you can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And if you want, just, you know, share it with your friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And other than that, thanks for watching our review, and I guess we'll see you later. I'm sorry about that.
Bye.
Okay, let's get out of here, huh?
Yeah.
I got a feeling we're being watched.
Let's get out of here.
Agreed.